Yesterday, I set a challenge for myself to get all 10 milestones from each of the 5 arenas, so 50 milestones in total, and I wanted to do this in a single sitting. I didn't want to wait for my top champions to come off cooldown, even though that's the smart thing to do, and I've got some stats to prove just how much better it would have been if I waited for my top champions, which we'll get into. But I was just really curious, like, one, could it be done with my roster at least? Obviously, if you have like every champion in the game, they're all max level and stuff like that, you have plenty of champions. But I wanted to see if my roster was big enough to do something like that, which I guess it was. But I also wanted to see how much gold, how many units, how many battle chips, just how long it would take in general to do that. So I have stats on all that stuff. First things first, before we get into the stats, don't look at this number down here. Actually, I'm going to take away this overlay because I imagine some people are looking at the starting units and comparing that to the units that I have currently. I spent some of those units. I bought a Cavalier Crystal at the end of the grind. So let me take that away. And then let's actually talk about the total number of rounds that it took to get through each of the arenas. So the 2-star arena was 37 rounds in total, which is pretty normal, using just maxed out 2-star champions. The 3-star arena took me 26 rounds in total, using 3 stars with the 1.5x boost. This is the only arena that I used the multiplier boost for, and that's just because the arena crystals, you have an infinite supply if you're an avid arena grinder, so you should be using boost to help speed up the grind. The 4-star basic arena, it took me 42 rounds to get all the milestones using my 550 4-star champions. And then these 2 arenas, this is where the bulk of the time of the grind actually took. And the reason for that is because, in the 4-star featured, ideally you're only using 5-star champions, but 5-star champions have a 7-hour cooldown. So if I wanted to do the grind in one single sitting, I had to use 4-star champions for part of the, getting some of the points in the 4-star featured. Likewise, for the 5-star featured arena, ideally you're using 6-star champions only, but I had to use a combination of 4, 5, and 6-star champions, which is why it took so many additional rounds. How many rounds, you ask? Well, let's take a look at a screenshot here. It's kind of a double screenshot, and this is from a past grind. This is actually from the previous Jabari arena, so my roster is pretty much the same. And I think I only used 5-star champs in the top part of the screenshot. That's the 4-star arena. You can see it was a 43 streak, and I had 3.85 million points. So 2 more rounds would have gotten me the final milestone. So 45 rounds in total. And the bottom screenshot, it took me 62 rounds to get the 12 million points that I needed to get the final milestone in the 5-star arena. And I didn't check my entire stream to see if I used other champions in these arenas, but I probably just used my 6 stars in the bottom one. I don't know. Let's just pretend I did, even if I didn't. So 62 rounds in the 5-star compared to the 103 that you can see above my head, and then 43 rounds in the 4-star feature compared to the 69 that you can now see above my head. So pretty big difference. Let's actually get to some of the stats right now. I'm actually going to hide the game to make these stats as visible as possible. There's a lot to go through here, so hopefully it's visible enough. Let's start at the top left corner with the gold gained. 3 lines there. First is the gold gained from grinding. This is not including opening up the arena crystals with my battleships. So it's 205,000 gold just from the milestones and the little bit of gold that you get for winning the individual fights. Then when I opened up the battle chips, when I opened up the arena crystals, I gained an additional 336,000 gold. And then the gold, total gold gained came out to 541,000. Let's look at the next section right below that for units gained from milestones, which is 535. The units gained from battle chips when I opened up my arena crystals was 375, which by the way was slightly above average, but only slightly. So the total units gained was 910. It would have been actually we'll come back to that unit gain number a little bit later because it was about 175,000 battle chips that I gained, and as you're going to see, I would have gained fewer battle chips had I waited for my top champion. So we'll talk about how many units I would have gained in just a moment. Let's go down to the next section and talk about the total time that it took, which was 10 hours and 29 minutes from the time I started my stream until the time I got the final milestone. But that wasn't just completely dedicated arena grinding. It was mostly arena grinding, but I also did, I cleared my first 2 sections of Alliance Quest, which is map 7. It was, reading comments and checking Twitter, which of course slows me down. It was, not waiting for my top champions to refresh. Definitely slowed me down. Slower fight times with the lower level champions, especially the 5-star champions that I have at rank 1, level 1. Those fights were taking like 50 hits sometimes, compared to a max rank champion sometimes only taking like 2 combos, or the ultra fast champions like Ghost, which are literally 3 phased medium hits to take down the opponent sometimes. So yeah, those fights slow me down. Scrolling down my roster between rounds to drag in those champions, that slowed me down quite a bit as well. And then I also had to restart my game 10 times, about once an hour, because I would either crash or I would be on the verge of crashing, where the game was so laggy, it was getting to the point of being unplayable, and I just force closed it and restarted it. So all of those things contributed to that total time of 10 hours and 29 minutes. And the total rounds, now going to the right side of the screen, at the top of the right side of the screen, the total rounds was 277. And the average time per round, this includes all that stuff that I just mentioned, all the things that slowed down the total 10 hour and 29 minute time. I just took that total time, divided it by the 277 rounds. It came out to about 2.27 minutes per round. And then I wanted to see like how fast would it have been if I was only using my top champions, and excluding like restarting my game and stuff like that. And I just pulled up some random times where I was using my highest level champions, and it was taking about 1.5 to 2 minutes from dragging those 3 champions in, doing all the fights, hitting the helps, and dragging in my next set of champions. There was on occasion it was even faster than 90 seconds per round, so faster than 1.5 minutes, but we could just call it 1.5 to 2 minutes. So now looking at the text in white here to break down some of these stats further. These stats are adjusted for using my top champions only. So it would have been 24 fewer rounds in the 4-star featured arena, 41 fewer rounds in the 5-star arena, so 65 total fewer rounds. So that brings the total to 212 total rounds, down from 277. And even just taking that slower time of 2.27 minutes per round at 212 rounds, that would have been 8 hours, almost exactly 8 hours. Then if I said, okay, well, what if we drop that down to the higher end of the just the faster fight times, and let's just call it 2 minutes per round. So 212 rounds at 2 minutes each would have been about 7 hours in total. And then if I took an average of the 1.5 to 2 minute time, and said 212 rounds at that 1.75 minute mark, it would have been about 6 hours. These numbers, they're, give or take a few minutes. It was like 6 hours and 11 minutes or something like that, if you wanted to really be exact, but about 6 hours. So if you're fast, if you're really focused on the grind, you can knock out every single milestone in about 6 hours. I don't focus on the arena like that, though. The total time of 7 hours, that's probably more accurate to how long it would take me to do all the rounds, just because I'm always doing something else while in the arena, watching TV, finding the next YouTube clip to watch, whatever the case may be. So it probably would have taken me about 7 hours instead of the 10 hour and 29 minute time that it actually took me while streaming. So quite the big difference if I would have just used my top level champions only, which of course 7 hours spread across a 3-day period comes out to about 2 hours and 20 minutes each day. And just to be clear, I do not hit all the milestones every round. Even though I do play the game for longer than 2 hours and 20 minutes each day. That's also including, again, doing Alliance Quest or spending my energy in quests or, whatever else. So I actually don't hit all the milestones. I shoot for getting the milestones in at least 2 of the arenas, the top 2 arenas, and then picking up some low-level milestones in the other ones. but you know, on occasion I do get more milestones. On occasion I do hit all 5 of the arenas. But yeah, also, so okay, by the way, going back to the total unit gain number of 910, it would have been a little bit less than that for 2 reasons. Number one, the amount of units that I got from the battle chips, from the 175,000 battle chips, I was a little bit over the average. The average is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 330 units, I believe. So a little bit less. And then also, I would have had fewer battle chips just in total if I did 65 fewer rounds using only my top champions. So that 910 unit number probably would have been closer to about 850 units, strictly from these 3 arenas. Now let's go back in game though, and I could show you how to easily stretch that to 1,000 units. First off, the other arena here, the Catalyst arena, even if you don't want to actually grind and get all the milestones, there's pretty easy 10 unit milestone and then 20 unit milestone. I think you got to do like 6 rounds in the arena or something like that for 30 units. It's really not too bad. So there's an additional 30 units. These arenas, you know, they come up every 3 days as well, 2 days on, 1 day off cycle. So there's an additional 30 units. I was not including the units that kind of threw off the calculations for a minute during the stream itself, because I actually gained some units from the calendar. You gain units from the calendar once a week. And then I also did not include the number of units that I got from the hero use event, which, by the way, that's a pretty decent score in hero use, 2.8 million. Might be my highest ever. Actually, I don't know. Maybe during a feature grind it was higher. But of course, you get some units, you know, from this from the 22-hour solo events as well. And I'm not including things like technically there are unit values, if you want to consider it that way, by getting boosts out of the solar crystal. I'm not including that. I'm just talking strictly about the units themselves, which, by the way, I forgot, these also do add gold. So the amount of gold would have gone up as well, just from hitting you know, once you get these actual crystals. And if you wait to open up the battle chips during gold boosts and things like that, you actually can get a lot more gold than what I had on the sheet there. But just looking at the units again, you know, these are some additional sources, and even without doing a featured grind, which would up the number of battle chips, that's about 1,000 units that you can get, considering you're getting the 75 from the 3-day events if you get that every day, which, outside of event quest completion is the only 22-hour solo event that you cannot get from the arena. Even level up will give you the gold, it'll give you the ISO, it'll give you the champions that you need, that you can always hit the 25 unit milestone from the level up event. So level up, arena wins, and hero use, all 3 of those, you can easily get the 25 unit milestone just from being an arena grinder. And all these things brings it to about 1,000 units in the 3-day period. Once again, could go above and beyond that if you grind for feature champions, but let's be realistic here. There's not many people in this game that are going to hit all these milestones and then continue grinding for a feature champion. It is possible. There was still a full 2.5 days left for me to continue grinding for Jabari here if I wanted to, which, to be honest, I'm still kind of thinking about, man. So I might just toss in my 5- and 6-star champs and go for it, but that would not be a normal thing. But yeah, that's what you can expect from the arena. Hopefully this info was kind of cool for you guys to learn about. I don't know, it was fun just to do it. I already broke down this info in previous you know, milestone math videos and things like that, but sometimes it's better just to kind of see it and really experience it in one sitting, rather than just looking at some theoretical numbers, even if they are accurate. So that'll do it for this video, though. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. It made it a lot more enjoyable. I wouldn't really have wanted to do this challenge just on my own, but you know, doing it in kind of a community-based way, which, by the way, some people joined me in doing the challenge, so shout out to everyone that was trying to you know, grinding along and going for all the milestones themselves. That was pretty cool. And yeah, I guess that'll do it for this video, though. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.